Why is it that some people go through life surrounded by friends while others seem to have an invisible force field, pushing everyone away? Maybe you know someone like this. It could be a coworker who always eats lunch alone, or a neighbor who seems perfectly nice but never appears to spend time with anyone. At first glance, it's easy to assume they're simply shy or that they prefer being alone. But the truth is usually much more complicated. Psychology tells us that people rarely struggle with friendships because they're unlikable. More often, a series of invisible barriers gradually pushes them into isolation. Understanding these patterns isn't about judging other people. It's about recognizing behaviors and habits that can affect almost anyone, including ourselves. So, what is really happening when someone seems to have no friends? 1. A lack of social fluency. This isn't about intelligence, attractiveness, or even having an interesting personality. Social fluency is the ability to read social situations, recognize unspoken signals, and naturally enter and leave conversations. People who struggle with these skills often appear awkward or disconnected, even when they have the best intentions. Imagine someone attending a party for the first time. They walk into a conversation, stand a little too close, and suddenly begin discussing a highly specific topic while everyone else is talking about movies or sports. They're not trying to make people uncomfortable. Their internal social radar simply isn't tuned to the environment around them. As a result, interactions become awkward, and people slowly pull away without understanding exactly why. 2. High social anxiety. Social fluency is about skill. Social anxiety is about fear. People with social anxiety constantly worry about being judged, criticized, or embarrassed. For them, a simple conversation can feel like standing on a stage in front of hundreds of people. Because of this fear, they often decline invitations, avoid social events, or overanalyze every interaction they have. Here's something fascinating. Psychologists have discovered what they call the liking gap. Research suggests that people usually like us more than we believe they do after a conversation. Unfortunately, someone with social anxiety rarely believes this. Their mind focuses on every tiny mistake while completely ignoring everything that went well. As time passes, they begin to withdraw more and more. Ironically, the very thing they're trying to avoid, rejection, is exactly what their behavior creates. 3. Learned helplessness. Sometimes people have tried to build friendships so many times that they've simply stopped trying. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. After experiencing repeated rejection, disappointment, or betrayal, people start believing that nothing they do will change the outcome. Instead of thinking, maybe this time will be different, they think, why bother? I'll just get hurt again. For example, someone might want to send a text message inviting a person to spend time together. But before they even pick up their phone, they've already convinced themselves that the answer will be no. Eventually, they stop reaching out entirely. The tragedy is that they aren't being rejected by other people anymore. They're rejecting themselves before anyone else has the chance. 4. Excessive negativity. Everyone complains from time to time. That's completely normal. The problem begins when negativity becomes someone's primary way of connecting with others. Every conversation becomes a complaint about work, money, family, the weather, or life in general. At first, people may offer support and encouragement, but over time, these interactions become emotionally exhausting. Imagine having a friend who spends an entire conversation discussing their problems but never asks how you're doing. Eventually, people begin to distance themselves, not because they don't care, but because they're trying to protect their own emotional well-being. Friendships thrive on balance. Constant negativity slowly destroys that balance. 5. Unrealistic expectations. The final reason is having expectations that simply don't match reality. Some people expect complete loyalty, constant attention, or deep emotional connections almost immediately. Often, these expectations come from a fear of abandonment. Without realizing it, they begin testing people. If someone takes too long to reply to a message, they assume they're being ignored. If they aren't invited somewhere, they view it as a deliberate rejection rather than a simple oversight. The problem is that friendships need time to develop. Most people don't form lifelong bonds overnight. Trust grows slowly through small moments, shared experiences, and consistent effort. When too much pressure is placed on a new relationship, it often collapses before it has a chance to grow. So let's quickly recap. People rarely end up isolated because they're bad people. More often, they struggle because of poor social fluency, social anxiety, learned helplessness, excessive negativity, or unrealistic expectations. Understanding these patterns allows us to look beyond the surface and see the human being behind the loneliness. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: friendship isn't only about finding the right people. It's also about becoming the kind of person who is ready to build meaningful connections when those opportunities appear. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more insights into human behavior and everyday psychology. And now, I'd like to hear from you. Have you ever noticed any of these patterns in yourself or in someone you know? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.